Astrology, astrology, astrology. Let's start this series again. Um, First and foremost, welcome back to the Astro experience. Okay, now if you're not new to my channel, you've seen my other sun sign series, but that was 1 or 2 years ago, and we're always growing and evolving and expanding. So our knowledge does the same thing. So let's start another one, especially with spring equinox right around the corner, okay? So whenever you see me do an interpretation on my YouTube or my Patreon, or if you join one of my courses, and this is Sage I'm lighting, by the way, I always give you the rundown of what the sign is composed of, okay? So when you talk about Aries, the first house rules Aries. It's a cardinal fire sign that's also ruled by Mars, and Venus is at detriment in Aries, and Saturn falls there. And that's going to come into play a little bit later on into this video, right? And your sun sign is about your actions. It's about your life force. It's about your vitality. It's about your purpose. It's about the energy that you're kind of supposed to grow into in this lifetime. It's the archetype that was destined for you to exhibit in this lifetime, okay? So, fire is all about feeling. It's about expressing. It's about passion. It's about raw authenticity, okay? Cardinal is about initiating and creating. Aries starts the spring season. It's the start of spring equinox, which is actually the new year, okay? And then Mars rules Aries, and Mars is about passion, willpower, motivation, and desire. The first house rules Aries, which is about the self. It's about how you look. It's about how you see the world also, okay? Now, when you bring all of those elements into your sun sign, which is your identity and your core will, Aries embody the archetype of a warrior, okay? Aries energy is very passionate, is very forceful, is very powerful, is very raw, and is very primal also. And Aries is the first zodiac sign, okay? And number one in numerology is all about being an individual. It's all about being courageous and being a leader, okay? So even just 3 minutes in, look at all of the key words that I've said so far. Leader, courage, willpower, passion, motivation. Those are very big themes when it comes to Aries energy. Being a pioneer, being the first, okay? Aries rules the head in medical astrology. So this is why Aries are hard-headed, hot-headed, okay? They rule the head. A lot of times Aries can get too arrogant, okay? But when it comes to the sun sign, they may not actually be arrogant, but they feel like they have to act arrogant because they understand individuality so much. So naturally, they have respect for other people's opinions and ideas, naturally, right? But to an Aries, it's like, okay, you have your opinion and I have mine, and then we can go from there, okay? And Aries would rather you be upfront about everything because Aries don't like second guessing. They're not really a mentally focused sign like that. They're all about putting everything on the table. They're about expressing. They're about putting everything out there. They don't like secrets like that. They don't like secrets. They don't like liars. And I've also noticed that Aries don't like people who use a lot of big words. They be like, bro, like who the like like what do you think, you're fucking smart or some shit? Like, bro, like talk normally. When like you may be trying to communicate something very intricate, and Aries would rather you break shit down very simply, okay? And they're not stupid people at all. Aries are far from stupid, but they don't really like a lot of complex ideas like that unless they can take action on it, okay? Aries is all about action. What can we actually do about this shit? Okay? And there's no better or worse also. It's about understanding who you are, understanding your archetype, and really playing your role, because every archetype has positive and negative qualities, honestly. So, but you do have those Aries that have a lot of earth energy in their chart that are like tacticians, especially if they got some fucking Scorpio shit. I'm telling you, bro. Especially if they got some Scorpio shit or even Taurus. But yeah. If you're an Aries sun sign and you have a lot of water energy in your chart, this can make you a lot more relatable to people, but you can also be kind of too much to handle, or like your emotions can seem like they're too much to handle for either yourself or other people, okay? Because Aries energy is like a fucking bazooka, okay? It's good in short bursts, but long, continuous output, they can get burnt out very quickly. Because an Aries looks at it like, okay, I'm going to give this everything I have. I'm going to give this all of my passion, okay? So a lot of times they may not plan for the long haul, or they may not even take it into consideration that, bro, you got to live 100 years. They look at the here and now, or they look at the next day or the next week, when sometimes you need to plan a little bit more to learn how to ration your energy more appropriately, okay? So if you're in Aries with a lot of water energy, you can get burnt out very quickly because you act with so much emotion, okay? If you're in Aries with a lot of earth energy in your chart, this is going to make you a lot more grounded and methodical, okay? This is kind of like the perfect combination, in my opinion, anyway. This is like the perfect combination for Aries energy. Bringing some earth energy here to help you ground and really move slower, okay? And understanding that being slow isn't a bad thing at all. Sometimes moving slower can help you get to where you want to go quicker. And Aries truly need to understand that more, because it's all about go, go, go and passion, passion, passion. But that burns you out. And I'm playing with my lighter. That's why you hear fucking plastic. But that can burn you out very quickly, okay? But if you're in Aries with a lot of airy energy, if you're in Aries with a lot of air energy, this makes you a lot more communicative. This makes you a lot more thinking and observational. These Aries are very fucking smart. Very fucking smart. They understand a lot about human nature. Really, if you're in Aries with anything in your chart, this is kind of the natural energy that you play out. But in Aries with a lot of air energy, these people understand human nature so well, because Aries is about the self, okay? So Aries understand themselves a lot, okay? And once you bring that into your ideas, you're going to think about yourself a lot, okay? And by understanding yourself and your own expressions and your own emotions more, by extension, you understand everybody else, because you understand that in order for you to express certain things, there's only certain mental conclusions that you can come to for you to even express and act out in certain ways. So in Aries with a lot of air energy are very fucking smart, bro. These people are very, very, very smart. Um, yeah. Big into psychology and things like that. And they can get a little bit sporadic because that air energy keeps them a little bit more detached. But at the same time, they still have that force and that drive to really do anything that they need to. And then if they're in Aries with a lot of fire energy, it kind of does depend on which fire sign though. If it's a lot more Leo energy, they're going to be a lot more stable. If it's Sagittarius energy, they're going to be all over the place and they're just going to want to express and expand. And if it's a lot of Aries energy, they're going to be hyper passionate and they can get selfish sometimes, honestly, even with the Leo energy too. But yeah, back to just Aries archetypes in general, bro. You need these people in your corner because they understand action so much to where it's like if you start thinking too much or if you start getting in your feelings too much or if you get too stagnant and rigid in your life, and Aries knows how to snap you back to reality. Like, bro, what are you doing? Sometimes it doesn't matter what you think. Sometimes it doesn't matter how you feel. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you have stability in your life already or not. And Aries is going to ask you, okay, what can we do about it? Yeah, you have all of these grandiose ideas, but what can we act on? What can we do right now? And that can get negative because sometimes you may just need to reflect. And sometimes you do just need to think about things. And sometimes you do just need to connect the dots. Or sometimes you do need to sit with your emotions and understand how do I actually feel. And sometimes you do need to connect to people emotionally. And sometimes you do need to focus on the physical stability within your life. But an Aries knows how to push everything forward. That's what they're all about. It's progression. They hate stagnancy, bro. They hate stagnancy. If you're an Aries, you gotta move your energy, bro. You gotta move it. You gotta move. If that's working out, that's fucking qigong. That's martial arts. It don't matter, bro. Your energy has to move some. Even if you do energetic rituals, bro, your energy works best when it's moving. Okay. Now, being methodical about that is very important because you can go nowhere very fast. Like, if you're in Aries, I know you know what I'm talking about, bro. Like, you can go nowhere very fucking fast. So, really just grounding your energy and understanding that sometimes, bro, it's okay to slow down. Everything doesn't always have to be about progression. Okay, sometimes I don't want to say stagnant, but sometimes being centered is a good thing and is very well needed, bro. And also, Aries can get very arrogant very quickly, bro. They can think they know everything because they are the ram. In order to be a ram, you got to be hella confident in yourself. You got to be hard-headed. You got to be hot-headed. You got to be arrogant because if, let's just say you're a ram, right? And you want to run through a wall. You're not going to think twice about it. You need that self-assurance to be like, okay, if that's a wall, I can run through that shit no matter what it's made of. Because sometimes if you second guess yourself or if you self-doubt yourself for 1 second, that can be the thing to cause you to fail. And Aries understand that. They understand that so fucking much, bro. Self-belief and self-authority. That's very, very powerful from Aries energy, bro. Believing in yourself is something that an Aries can teach everybody, bro. Everybody, okay? Now jumping into this, right? I said that Saturn is exalted in the constellation of Libra, Libra and Aries are sister signs. Therefore, Saturn's exaltation opposes Aries. Therefore, Saturn falls in Aries. Now, what does all of this mean, right? Basically, Aries have a hard time embodying Saturnian energy. Saturnian energy is all about discipline. It's all about boundaries. It's all about rules. It's about restrictions. It's about limitations. So sometimes Aries don't, well, really majority of the time, Aries do not like authority from other people. They feel like they need to be in control and they need to be the boss of every single thing that they're doing in their lives, right? And that's an absolutely great quality to have, but it can get negative because whenever somebody tries to give you perspectives or understanding or opinions or even emotional connection, you may shoot them down because you're too focused on doing everything yourself. And that's exactly how you get burnt out, okay? So if you're in Aries, most definitely watch out for that. Saturn is about rules. Aries love breaking rules. Saturn is about discipline. Aries can focus on motivation a little bit too much. You may use your abundance of motivation to compensate for the lack of discipline that you probably have, because Aries energy is also very primal. So these people move off of their primal instincts a lot, okay? And a lot of times, primal energy doesn't really deal with discipline. It deals with being in the moment. It deals with instinct, okay? So learning how to have a routine and a structure in your life is very important for Aries energy, because it gives you it gives you structure for your energy to actually exist in, okay? Instead of just saying, all right, I want to do this and then go all out on it. And that's good. That's very good. But sometimes you need to look at the long haul, okay? So Saturn falls there. Saturn is discipline. It's also about karma too. So a lot of times Aries experience instant karma, like instantly. Like if you're in Aries, or if you have a lot of Aries energy in your chart, you understand more than anybody that what goes around comes around. And that if you do something that you know you shouldn't do, it's going to come back around to you 10 times quicker. And it may feel personal. And it kind of is. Because Saturn really don't fuck with y'all like that. I'm not going to lie. But there's a lot of learning opportunities within that, okay? It teaches a lot of humility. Saturn teaches you so much humility because you cannot only rely on yourself in this lifetime. You cannot solely rely on the amount of motivation and inspiration that you have. You cannot solely rely on your fire, okay? You have to learn how to ground yourself with earth. You got to learn how to connect to others emotionally with water. You got to learn how to think, analyze, and communicate with air as well. A lot of Aries are masters of fire. And if they have too much fire, they get hyper arrogant. They get hyper irritated. They get frustrated very quickly, okay? So really learning how to balance that is very important. And it is a little bit harder for Aries females because women in general are just they're naturally more emotional than men. So it can be harder to temper that Aries fire energy, okay? For women specifically. For men, we're kind of already tailored to experiencing that energy. So it's kind of more natural for us to have Aries energy, okay? But let me see. That's Saturn. I explained the modalities. Oh, the polarity too. It's a masculine sign, which means that it's yang or yang. Obviously masculine, pushing out, forward focused, progressive, very masculine energy. Aries energy is all about impacting the physical world, okay? It can deal with emotions sometimes because Your physical life can impact your emotional state and your mental state as well, but mainly your emotional state, mainly your primal instincts. Um, if you know an Aries in your life, they're kind of always going to trigger primal energy within you, and you may not know why, but that's just the energy that they naturally carry, okay? Now, when it comes to Venus being at detriment in Aries, okay, let me take a sip of water for this one. Let me take some water for this one. Okay, so when it comes to Venus, right? Like I said before, Saturn is exalted in Libra, but Venus also rules Libra. And then Libra is opposed to Aries, so Venus opposes Aries pretty much. And then and then I'm sorry, Venus is debilitated in Aries, right? So what the fuck does that mean? When it comes to love, value, and sensuality, Aries experience a lot of lessons when it comes to that in this lifetime. They need to learn how to embody these characteristics and these energies a little bit more. When it comes to being harmonious within your relationships, Aries can get very brash. They can have an I don't give a fuck attitude sometimes. And that can rub the people in your life the wrong way. Okay? Learning how to come off more relatable to people, because Aries are just straight up. They tell it how it is. They express what they want. Sometimes they can have an I don't give a fuck attitude. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person, because all of the Aries that I know are very soft internally. Like, they have a very tough exterior. They're very strong. They're very passionate, very courageous. But internally, they are very caring people. They're very soft people, honestly. But learn how to be more relatable and harmonious within your relationships. Learn how to take the emotional state of other people into consideration. And don't be so blunt. And Aries can be very matter of fact. And try not to okay, the thing with Aries, right? They don't necessarily tackle they don't attack people like that. They try to attack problems. They can look at people as opposition, but it really doesn't play out like that a lot of the times. Aries love competition, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times when it comes to conflict within relationships, Aries try to tackle problems, but they do it with so much passion that the other person may feel personally attacked, and that can be where the disconnect can be, because an Aries is like, bro, I'm with you, we're both against this issue, but why are you acting so sensitive about it? And then the other person can be like, but the way that you're expressing is kind of making me feel a certain way. So that's most definitely a balancing act right there, and take that into account whenever you're trying to solve conflicts within your relationships, because that's also very important. Having conflict resolution skills is very important for Aries. Extremely important, because Aries can cause a lot of problems. Not that they're problematic people, but because a lot of people aren't ready for the passion that these people hold. Okay? So, really learning how to refine your passion and not letting it leak out, but learning how to contain yourself. I don't want to say control, or I don't want to say diminish your fire, or I don't want to say dumb down, but learning how to work with your energy and giving yourself areas to channel your fire in will help you better in your day-to-day life, because you won't be as charged up. Because as an Aries, you naturally have a lot of energy. Like, you may feel like a fucking bowl of fire, bro. And whenever these people get mad, I've noticed like their fucking face gets red, their head gets red. Um, like, bro, their anger is very quick also. Um, very fucking quick. And that's a big theme when it comes to Aries energy. They're not like a sniper, like a Scorpio. They're like a fucking machine gun with limited ammo. Or they're like a fucking flamethrower. They are like a flamethrower with a little as diesel tank of fuel. So, learning how to ration your energy, bro. And with Aries, bro, I'm telling you, if you're in Aries, you can accomplish anything that you want to in this lifetime. You can take over the world if you want to, like truly, bro. I genuinely mean that. But the biggest thing in this lifetime is really just conquering yourself. Okay? Don't try to conquer external people. Don't try to conquer external events. Having a healthy amount of competition is important for Aries, but don't solely seek that. Seek dominion and authority over yourself. And learning how to control your emotions is very important with this energy, okay? But yeah, that's a nice little 30-minute video on Aries sun signs. I can make another part 2. I can keep going. I'm not gonna lie. I can probably go for a fucking hour about this shit. But yeah, Aries rules spring. Aries is the start of spring. It literally starts spring equinox, okay? And that's where new life is birthed. After the transitionary period on Earth, where everything dies and things are becoming born again, right? Aries season initiates. From winter, you get spring. Everything is being born. You see new life. Everything's new. Everything's fresh. You feel revitalized, okay? That's Aries energy, okay? Being new, feeling fresh, feeling reborn, okay? That's exactly what these people are about. These people love conquest. These people love competition. These people love sports. And if you don't already love these things, at least understanding conquest, competition, and sports can help you so much mentally. Even, let's say you're not a very physically oriented Aries. So let's say you don't even like sports, or you don't like working out, or you're not very confrontational. Just understanding war, just understanding competition on a mental level can help you out so much in your day-to-day life, because your psyche is already kind of wired to experiencing these things. So if you didn't have a physically hard life, you're going to experience a lot of competition and friction and irritation internally and mentally. So understanding what is actually war, what is actually competition, what is actually fighting, understanding these things can help you out so much with your energy and just learning how to operate within yourself, okay? So that's that. Like I said before, Aries is a ram, really about forward focusing, okay? But I don't want to make this video too long because I can make a part 2 always, and I don't want to run out of storage right now. You feel me? But if you do want to understand a lot more about your chart, book with me one-on-one. I will work with you personally. You can get a reading. I am coming out with courses whenever spring equinox hits in about 1 or 2 months. So be on the lookout for that for sure. Add all of my social medias. I consistently post on Instagram and TikTok. They will be in the link tree down below. Most definitely reach out to me if you have any suggestions for new videos. Any questions, I can most definitely make videos on. But if they are about your chart specifically or your life specifically, you will have to book a reading with me, okay? I am very flexible with payment options. I have a list of services you can choose from, bro. Just look on my my website in the bio, okay? But yeah, that's Aries energy in a nutshell, bro. These people are very hot, very passionate, very courageous. These people love feeling like they just won. Like Aries love winning. They love feeling like winners. They love feeling like a gladiator who just fucking defeated a tiger or some shit. Or even if it's not combative or physically violent or anything, they just love feeling on top of the world, okay? So, let me see. Any exaltations in Aries? No. So I pretty much hit everything. All right. Yeah, most definitely comments down in the comment section if you want to see any more videos. But without further ado, I'll catch y'all next video.